Story 1. The announcement inside my apartment. The first time I heard the announcement, it was not coming from the television, or from my phone, or from the street speakers the city had installed during the lockdown. It was coming from inside my apartment, from the empty room at the end of the hallway. And the voice was calm when it said, "Residents must remain indoors. Do not answer the door after midnight." I had been alone for 11 days by then, and I remember standing in the kitchen with one hand on the tap, listening to water run into a glass I never drank from, because the strange part was not the message itself. We had all heard versions of it every day. Stay inside, avoid contact, report unusual activity, do not gather, do not panic. The strange part was that the voice knew my apartment number. It said it clearly, like it was reading from a list. Unit 4B is now under individual lockdown. I turned off the tap so fast the pipes knocked behind the wall, and for a few seconds the whole place was silent, except for the old refrigerator humming in the corner. I told myself it had to be one of the neighbors. The building was old, the walls were thin, and sounds traveled through vents in ways that made everything seem closer than it really was. But then the voice spoke again, softer this time, from the room I used to keep boxes in. "Please step away from the windows." I had not been near the windows all evening. I had actually been avoiding them since the fifth night, when I noticed the streetlights outside my building were turning off one at a time, in perfect order, from the far end of the road toward my window, and stopping exactly beneath me. During lockdown, the nights had a different weight. At first, the silence was almost peaceful. No engines, no late-night voices, no footsteps coming up the stairwell. But after a while, the quiet stopped feeling empty and started feeling arranged. Every sound had a place. Every movement felt observed. I lived on the fourth floor of a small apartment building beside a row of closed shops. And from my bedroom window, I could see the main road, the pharmacy, the bus stop, and the security booth that used to be empty most nights. On the first few days, city workers drove through with a loudspeaker, reminding everyone to stay inside. On day 6, the vans stopped coming, but the announcements continued. They came from the speakers fixed to the poles, though nobody ever came to check them. The messages were normal during the day, but at night they became more specific. Do not look directly at the people standing in the road. Do not respond to familiar voices outside your home. Do not open doors for anyone claiming to be inspection staff. Everybody in the building heard them, because the next morning our group chat would fill with nervous jokes and half-serious questions. Someone asked if the authorities had been hacked. Someone else said fear makes people hear strange things. But nobody laughed on the night the announcement said, "If you hear breathing outside your door, do not breathe back." That was the night the knocking started. Story 2. The voices in the hallway. It began on the second floor, slow and polite. 3 knocks, then silence. I heard it clearly because the stairwell carried sound like a tunnel. 3 knocks, a pause, 3 knocks again. Then a woman's voice I recognized from downstairs whispered, "Please let me in. I forgot my key." The problem was, she had posted in the group chat an hour earlier that she was staying with family before the roads closed. No one replied. No one opened. The knocking moved to the 3rd floor. Same rhythm, same voice. Then the 4th floor. My floor. I turned off every light in my apartment except the tiny blue one on my router. The knocks reached the door across from mine first. 3 soft taps. A pause. Then my own voice whispered from the hallway, "It's me. Open up. I stopped breathing before I realized I had done it. I knew the voice was mine, but it sounded like a recording made when I was very tired. It had the same slight rasp, the same way I swallowed between words. I left something outside, it whispered. Open the door. I backed away until my shoulder touched the kitchen cabinet. The hallway outside stayed quiet for so long, I almost convinced myself it was over. Then my phone lit up on the table. Unknown number. One message. You did well. Do not answer again. After that, things began to follow a pattern. Every night at exactly 12:17, the building speakers would crackle once. At 12:19, someone would knock on a door. At 12:22, a voice would imitate someone from inside the building. At 12:25, the elevator would open, even though the elevator had been shut down since lockdown began. We all knew the pattern because by then the group chat had become our only way of proving we were not imagining it. People typed while sitting in darkness. It's outside my door. It sounds like my brother. Do not open. Do not reply. Stay away from the peephole. That last warning came after someone on the 5th floor said they looked through and saw only the hallway light flickering. But when they stepped back, there was a wet circle on the inside of the peephole, like someone had breathed on it from within the glass. The next day, their messages stopped. Their apartment remained quiet, but at night, their voice joined the others. It came through the hall, asking for help in a flat, patient tone. Nobody said their name again after that. The authorities never responded. The emergency numbers rang, played a recorded message, then disconnected. The city's official channel kept posting daytime updates like everything was normal, but none of them mentioned the night announcements. On day 14, a printed notice appeared under every door in the building. I found mine when I woke up. It was a plain sheet of paper with no logo, no signature, and only 3 rules. Remain inside your unit between sunset and sunrise. Cover all mirrors after 10 p.m. If someone you know calls from another room, do not go to them. Story 3. The second lockdown. I had only one mirror above the bathroom sink, and I covered it with a towel before dark, because by then I was past pretending. Around 10:30, I heard someone moving in the storage room. Not loud, just the soft scrape of cardboard shifting against the floor. I stood in the hallway for nearly 5 minutes, holding a kitchen knife I knew I would never use, staring at the closed door. Then, from behind it, someone gently cleared their throat. It was a small sound, ordinary, almost embarrassed. Then my voice said, "I think you forgot one." I looked down the hall and saw the glass door of the microwave reflecting the apartment behind me. In that dark reflection, every cabinet door was open, though in the real kitchen, they were closed. I covered the microwave with a towel too, then the oven door, then the black screen of the television, then my phone. By midnight, my apartment looked like someone had prepared it for a funeral. Every reflective surface was hidden, and still I felt watched. At 12:17, the speakers crackled. At 12:19, the knocking began. But this time it did not start downstairs. It started inside the storage room. 3 knocks from the other side of the door. A pause. 3 knocks again. I did not move. The voice inside said, "Residents must remain indoors." Then it laughed once, quietly, like it had made a mistake and found it funny. For the next 3 nights, I slept in the kitchen with my back against the fridge, because it was the only place where I could see the hallway and the front door at the same time. The group chat slowly died, not because everyone disappeared, but because people stopped trusting the messages. Someone would type, "I'm safe," while their voice begged outside someone else's door. Someone would say, "Don't believe anything from this number," and then the same number would send a photo of their own living room, taken from the ceiling corner. I turned off my phone after receiving a picture of my apartment door from the hallway, time-stamped 2 minutes in the future. On day 18, the official lockdown was lifted. The city announced that residents could leave for essential movement during daylight. I waited until noon before opening my door. The hallway smelled damp and metallic, like old coins and rainwater. Every apartment door had scratch marks around the frame, not deep, just thin, pale lines, as if someone had been tracing the edges with a fingernail for hours. The elevator stood open at the end of the hall. Inside, all the buttons were lit except mine. I took the stairs. Outside, the street looked normal in the cruelest possible way. Sunlight on closed shops, masks on the pavement, a bird sitting on the pharmacy sign. Nothing standing under my window, nothing in the road. I walked 3 blocks before I saw another person, and neither of us spoke. I left the city that afternoon and stayed somewhere else until the restrictions ended completely. Months passed. The building was later declared unsafe and sealed. The news said it was because of electrical faults, but I know what I heard, and I know what came from that room. I tried to forget the exact times, the rules, the announcements. I even moved to a different town. But last winter, during a short power cut, I woke up at 12:17 to the sound of a speaker crackling somewhere in my new apartment. There are no street speakers here, no hallway intercom, no storage room, just me, my bedroom, and a locked front door. The voice was faint, almost buried in static, but calm as ever. Unit 2A is now under individual lockdown, it said. Then, from the other side of my bedroom window, 4 floors above the ground, someone knocked 3 times,